How to lose a record deal more than once. But here's the first time. So in 1972, at the age of 19, I had gone by train to Munich in Germany on the recommendation of a drummer that I'd met who said that English musicians could get work in Munich. I thought, yeah, okay, let's go. And he was right. I rocked up there in October 1972, at the tender age of 19, and very quickly found myself some little concerts in folk clubs and what have you. And I ran into a guy in a music shop who told me about a famous German-Israeli artist who was looking for musicians for a band. He had a record deal with CBS, and in fact, anyway, he gave me the phone number. I phoned up, and I kind of suddenly found myself with the job of musical director for this duo called Ofarim and Winter. And Ofarim was Abi Ofarim, who had been a very successful husband and wife team, Esther and Abi Ofarim. They'd had a huge hit. But anyway, he was now working with a guy called Tommy Winter, who was an English musician who'd been brought up on the army bases of Europe. So I had the job of knocking into shape the band, which I was probably not qualified to do. But anyway, we had a bass player and a drummer arrive from Wales, and it was my job to rehearse the band and learn the songs from the album. And we then embarked on a few dates. We had a 10-week tour with the New Seekers in the UK and Ireland. Anyway, in the middle of all that, they offered me a production deal, a record deal with Abi's production company, which, of course, I was very happy to do. However, after the tour in the UK in the early part of 1973, we got back to Munich and we started talking about preparing my album. And it was at this moment that Abi Ofarim told me that he was going to be the producer. And it was at that moment that I decided that no one knew how to produce me. So I fell out with them. I told them in no uncertain terms that Abi's production would not be the kind of record I wanted to make, and I must therefore walk, which I did. So there I was at 20 years old, so arrogant, so innocent, really. I had no idea how the world worked, did I? But anyway, I walked out of the record deal, and all I got from it was this lovely Hoya guitar, which I've talked about in other videos, and for which the song "What Good Is This Old Guitar" was written. A guitar that I've owned for however many years it is, since 1973. They'd bought me that because when we started the tour, my acoustic was just not up to it. So I walked away with a lovely guitar and a few stories. But that's how, at 20 years old, you stop your career in its tracks. Now, it probably would have been, I'm not quite sure what sort of album it would have been, but it would have been an album and it would have been released on a record label. But of course, I had to say no. There you are.